Good evening and welcome into the Mafia Cast, brought to the fans, by the fans, and this is your one-stop shop for all things Bills every single week. Now here are your hosts, Mike Yanni, Ronnie Eastham, and Casey Cita.
Welcome in, Bills Mafia, to another episode of the Mafia Cast. Our second week back. Hope you didn't miss last weekend. We had an outstanding guest last week with Latavius Murray. If you did miss it, though, check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. But we do have another guest today, John. He is back with us this month or today. How's it going, John?
Not bad, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Casey, what's going on, my man?
Not a whole lot. Told you guys that I won a golf tournament earlier today, but you all mocked me for what I won because of it.
Yeah, tell everybody who's listening what you won.
Hey. All right, so people that live in central New York have heard of this course called Conklin Players Club, and it's phenomenal. It's one of the most beautiful courses you'll ever play. It's got amazing sights, views and everything. It's in the hills and the mountains. I had the lowest score, and it's called a blind draw. So you draw a playing card, and whoever has the same playing card as you, that's your partner. You add up your scores. The team with lowest score wins. I had the lowest score overall. My partner and I tied for lowest score. Period. So I won. It was $60 to play, and I got half of my money back at $30. It's better than what you guys got today.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I don't golf either.
After both of your guys' stories before coming on the podcast, I would say I had the best day out of all three.
True.
All right.
That's true.
Touche.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. All right, guys.
I'm just kind of curious, though. Casey, just one quick question. Was it $60 in quarters into the Golden Tee machine, or was it a different golf game? Just
They make you buy a swipe card now because, everything's technology. But, yeah, same thing.
Yeah, Dave & Buster's ruins everything.
Smart ass.
Oh, that's great. All right, hey, let's talk some Bills football. You guys kind of keeping up on what's going on with the camp? We're 5 days in now. Today, the pads went on. A lot of positive news has been coming out with a few exceptions. One of the biggest things, let's get to a concern first, I guess. Connor McGovern, Casey, you kind of talked a little bit about this, and Van Pran Granger. I haven't heard a lot of news about Granger. However, I did hear today via social media that he's actually playing guard with the twos. Are you guys concerned about the center position right now?
John, go ahead.
Extremely. With Morris there, we had something that we could count on, and he had the experience. He seemed to gel well with Josh. And it wasn't a worry, and it's not that when we picked up Morris, I mean it was a great pick. It was a solid pick. People knew how good he was. Now we're just in a waiting game, and seeing if either one of them can go through and actually step up and be that Mitch Morris or better.
So,
and the dogs are on the move.
Yep.
The struggle is that, when Mitch Morris is missed time, we've seen, Ryan Bates was the go-to guy. The reason why he never started on our offensive line was because he could play, the middle three interior offensive line positions. That's what made him valuable. He was too good at everything, to be stuck at one position. But even when he came in as a backup, we saw botched snaps between he and Josh then. So it goes to show you just how much of a rapport the center and quarterback have to have together. Like, I mean, because that's the only mainstay in every single play is that football has to get to the quarterback. And I mean, McGovern hasn't played it since college, really. I mean, I think he did in emergency roles with the Cowboys at like times, but like he hasn't done it consistently. And I know, like, he says, like, I feel at home playing center, but I feel at home on a golf course. But it's realistic that that's not where I need to be. You know, I need to be home with my wife and being a good person. But I think
Still working on that, but continue.
The last part's a work in progress. But so maybe he just needs to be. I mean, we saw how good he was last year at left guard next to Deion Dawkins. Dawkins has said, "I've never played 2 straight seasons with the same guy to my right." You know, that's saying something. You know, that shows the carousel that the Bills have had at offensive line. You know, we finally got some mainstays in Dawkins, and hopefully we extend Spencer Brown, and we got this young stud in Osiris Torrance. But now there's 2 new positions that we need to fill. And in my mind, I've never really understood taking somebody who was playing well at one position to move him to another. So then you're inputting another player because then you're changing 2 positions instead of just finding a new center, a new center straight up, replacing 1 for 1, not trying to go here, do a triangle with it. So I don't understand why Van Pran Granger's not getting the opportunity. You know, maybe he's not ready. You know, we know the Bills don't always bring their draft picks in quick. And that's speaking of the 1s and 2s and 3s, let alone a 5th round pick. So I'd like to see him get time. If he's not ready, he's not ready. Then we just have an issue with center, period, point blank. 'Cause that means we don't have one. But if this is just one bad day out of the 5, and they're still trying to gel together, I can give it a pass. You know, it's not even August yet. There's plenty of time for them to get on task.
Yeah.
It's a consistency, that's where the issue is going to come in.
Yeah, and it's those inconsistencies is what we're seeing in camp right now. So it's spanned multiple days to this point, but it is early, right? I mean, we're not even into the preseason games yet. I wouldn't say I'm not really necessarily concerned. I think the deal with Granger, I don't know that it's a situation where he's not ready or not. I haven't really heard a whole lot as far as his performances at center through training camp. But this is kind of how I'm seeing what they're doing is they're molding him to be the next Ryan Bates, that guy who can play any of the 3 interior spots if they need him to. So that's kind of where I see that going as far as that, and they're just cross-training essentially. And yeah, as far as McGovern goes, I'm not concerned necessarily yet. If this continues to be a thing throughout the preseason games, then I think we need to be a little bit concerned about it. But until then, not so much. I do want to address one thing, Casey, that you said a while ago, and that's the comment about Coach McDermott and this organization as a whole, I guess, and how they bring rookies along. We've heard that before, that they're slow to let them on the field. I kind of push back against that because the last 3 or 4 years, we didn't need the rookies to really take the field. So when you have a Super Bowl roster and guys who are continually, coming back year after year, why would you put them on the field? Those first couple of years, we saw them on the field. Edmonds, Milano, Oliver, Allen, Gabe Davis, all of them played significant snaps early. I just think at this point in the organization in their tenure, they're not bringing them on the field as quickly as we saw before because they're just really not needed. This is the first time we've seen it where we lost our top 2 wide receivers. The 2 safeties, we don't, and we'll talk more about the safeties here in just a moment, but there's a potential of a rookie starting there. But that's just where I see it. I just don't feel like the last few years we've needed to install rookies right off the bat.
I agree entirely.
Well, you make it too easy. All right. As far as the offensive line as a whole, Deion Dawkins is back, obviously. Spencer Brown. I do think that he probably gets re-signed or extended this sometime this year. I don't think they will let it wait until next year, or until the off season, I guess. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm not really too concerned about that. And then, of course, Osiris Torrance. I've seen some people actually predicting him as an All-Pro this year. Torrance. He played, I think, the second most snaps of any player last year. Again, there's a rookie that played a lot of snaps. But where do you guys see this offensive line as far as the offense? Because we talked a lot about the wide receivers, and of course we're going to have to talk about them again a little bit. But the line as a whole, are you worried? Casey?
Go ahead, John.
Anybody, go.
my worry is, it's been this left guard center position, because what I said earlier, you're changing two positions when you should really only have to change one. And between Will Clatt, like if they just kept McGovern at left guard and just let Granger and Will Clatt battle it out, and if neither of them are working out, then you have to go make something happen. But Van Pran Granger played 60 games at Georgia, won how many national championships, was first team All-American. He's given up one sack basically in I feel like it's his career the last 2 years, whatever it is. It's an insane number and ratio. I understand his arms are shorter. Sorry, but look, tell that to Creed Humphrey. They said the exact same thing about him coming out of the draft. Chiefs took him, and he's been an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler since he has been drafted. So sometimes you just gotta learn by fire. You just gotta throw your hat in. Just whatever happens, happens. He's been a good player. We believe if you believe he can be a good player, let him get his feet wet, and whatever happens. It bugs the crap out of me. David Edwards was the perfect sixth offensive lineman for us. He'd come into the heavy sets as the blocking tight end, like Lee Smith was always doing. He could fill in both guards in a pinch, and even a tackle in an absolute pinch. I don't know. He could be the perfect Ryan Bates for us, right? And his best years came under Aaron Kromer when he played for when Kromer was coaching for the Rams. They're trying to reignite that same fire. But since he's a couple years off of the injury now and he's back aligned with Kromer, so I get where the optimism is, but if I don't understand why they don't have the same optimism with Van Pran Granger and why they just insist on moving two positions instead of one.
Yeah, my biggest concern with the offensive line, goes right back to the center, because it doesn't matter how good the rest of the line is. If that play breaks down right from the snap, it doesn't matter. You could have 5 All-Pros. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I guess I understand. I don't think it's a situation where they're trying to force, or they insisted on moving the guard situation. Edwards was, per Pro Football Focus, actually the highest rated offensive lineman on the Bills roster. If he's good enough to play as a starter, he needs to be on the line. Your best 5 need to start. And if he was one of the best 5 last year, that's why I see that they moved him up into the starting 5 this year.
Hold on. I refute that all day long with the name Tyrell Dodson. If he was the number 1 linebacker in all of PFF in the entire National Football League, he should have been starting over Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard.
I agree. I do agree. The only thing that I'll add to that is, when it comes to the offensive linemen, what else do we have to go off of? We don't have stats. We can look and say, well, they didn't give up sacks. Well, none of them really did. Allen was the least sack quarterback last year, and a lot of that, though, is because of Allen. So some of that is inflated. So to me, I understand people's, distrust or issues with the Pro Football Focus scores. But again, what else are you going to measure it by?
I like playing devil's advocate. Edwards never, he didn't start last year for us. We had the same starting 5 all 17 games and into the playoffs. So he only came in situationally either when we were resting dudes or somebody got hurt for a play or two, or he was coming in as the sixth offensive lineman. So he's either going against being able to double team defensive ends or going against a completely worn down defensive tackle at the end of a game. So that like numbers can definitely be inflated.
I think you're not giving him enough credit. He wasn't coming in late in the game just to spell people. He had almost 200 snaps last year, which pales in comparison to what the other guys had. I get that, and I'm not saying that I think he was the best of the five. Unless I'm on the field in practice and I'm watching and I'm seeing all the tape, which I'm not an X's and O's guy. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I don't watch film. I don't watch all 22. I ain't got time for that. But I'm confident with him in that position as the guard. I'm not concerned about that. I am, like I said, the situation with the center, not yet there. If it continues to be a thing, then maybe. But and as far as the reports out of camp, Edwards has looked good. He's playing well. In fact, the offense as a whole has been lighting up our defense. And I know I'll ask you guys about that in just a moment. But John, I know you're in the middle of an idea or thought. So if you haven't forgotten what you were saying, where were we going with that?
No, yeah, I totally lost it. Sorry, the dogs were going crazy here for a minute and it got me right off my game.
It's all good. It happens. It happens to Casey a lot too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
With no dogs.
True.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So let me backtrack a little bit. This actually wasn't on our topic today, but it came up, so I'm kind of curious because I think this is something I think about every year. We hear about everything that's happening in camp. We listen to all the beat reporters who are actually on the field, and they're saying this guy was great, this guy was great, that guy was great. The offense right now has been absolutely killing it. There was one moment where Allen threw some interceptions back to back to back, and of course media grabbed that. I saw a few reports about Allen struggling in camp, whatever, but the offense looks like legit right now. And when something like that happens, what's your first thought, Casey? I'll start with you. Do you go immediately to, yeah, our offense is great, or, oh crap, our defense is getting lit up?
Neither. It's day 5. It's day 5 and day 1 with pads. Like it's just one of those things to where if the defense won the next 5 days, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, there's so many. We talk about how many new pieces are on offense. There's just as many new pieces on the defense, and in two of the most important positions in a McDermott defense, and that's a safety. And we're relying on a free agent or a 7th round draft pick or a rookie to come in and play those positions. So of course, there's going to be growing pains. Both our linebackers, I understand, they look and are playing like full participants in camp, but they're still coming off injuries, especially Matt Milano. Like that was a serious injury. Mm-hmm. He may be technically full in camp. I bet you he's still working on, getting his full feeling and footing back and fully trusting his body again. And apparently, this is the first time in 2 years, but Von Miller is finally healthy. So he's just getting his feet wet again. It's just one of those things. I don't think too much or too little about it because there's nuance to it all, and we don't know, what happened the play before or during the play, if there was a breakdown and just a complete blown coverage, or did somebody just make like a beautiful play. I understand people can put out all the tweets they want, but until you really see it with your eyes, you don't you can't fully comprehend the full story. That's why I don't think too much about it until like you start seeing it in the preseason games, which is why I do think they're important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Casey had said that he wouldn't be surprised the next 5 days went the defense's way. I kind of expect to see that throughout camp. One day it's going to be the offense that looks fantastic and the defense looks horrible, and the next day it's going to be vice versa and everything. The only thing that I'm really grateful for is there's no Diggs drama. There's, this is the first year in what, a good 3 years, 4 years, yeah,
Three.
that he hasn't been a distraction. So if the media wants to go after Allen throwing 3 picks, I'm fine with that. I mean, it's going to happen. He's got a lot of new pieces to get on the same page with, get their timing down. And a lot of those defensive guys, know Allen. They know Allen better than, Keon does, or, who's the kid from Tennessee there? Drawing a blank. Not Tennessee. Crap.
The receivers?
Panthers. Curtis Samuel.
Oh, Curtis Samuel.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. Benford's played with him. This is now his third offseason going against Josh Allen. Rasul Douglas got to do it in practice last year, but now he's getting a full offseason. All the defensive linemen have been here, for at minimum 4 years. This will be their 4th offseason against him. Bernard, his 3rd. Milano, his 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever it is. So yeah, they do know. I mean, that Josh like the back of their hand. Not, he's still going to trick them. He's still going to win some battles.
Yeah.
He's too damn of a good football player. But yeah, I mean, John's 100% right. I mean, Keon was, he was a big dog on campus last year. Now he's little dog. He's a little dog right now. And Curtis Samuel, he's coming here to prove that he is like as good of a wide receiver as everybody thought he could be in his first couple of years in the NFL. And now he's reunited with Joe Brady, and yeah, I think it's going to be a really good thing. But yeah, it's 100% going to take more than 5 days for everything to be perfect.
Yeah. Well, historically, defenses have the upper hand initially in training camps for whatever reason. It takes a little while longer usually for the offense to kind of gel. This year has been different in that regard. And just to kind of give some context to the interceptions comments with Allen, it happened on day 3, right at the end of practice. They're like the last 3 drives or whatever, and I don't know if it's 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 or whatever. But so it was a very small sample, a very small moment where it just wasn't quite clicking for whatever reason. But outside of that, everything that I've seen, all the comments from the players, from beat reporters on site, Allen has looked phenomenal. If you watch the videos, and I brought this up, and kind of going back to John's comment about the lack of the drama, it looks like to me, and this goes across the whole roster too, not just with Allen, but they look like they're having fun again. And I didn't feel that way last year. I felt like there was something being held over their head, like they were stressing about whatever. And whether that was Diggs drama or just the pressure of trying to get over the hump or a combination of both, who knows? But it did not feel like they were having fun at all last year. This year seems different so far. It's early. There's still a long ways to go. We do have NFL football this week, though. It's the Hall of Fame game. I'll be watching.
I'll be glued. And
do you watch the Hall of Fame? Go ahead, Casey.
Well, I was going to say, sort of like real quick about like them having fun. The old heads are gone, to put it loosely, and there's an influx of young players. Keon can't even legally drink. Dude's 20 years old. Like he like all this youth. Like there's going to be entry. Like there's going to be an entry of like ignorance. They don't know. They don't know what it's like to be an NFL player yet. So they're coming in all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and soon enough they'll get smacked in the mouth, and they'll be like, okay, yep, like business. Like they don't have yes, they understand it's business, but like they don't have that severe business mentality yet. They're still here having fun. They're still in the honeymoon phase of getting drafted and going, coming to Buffalo. They just signed the first contract, a month ago. They just became instant millionaires. Their lives are changed changed forever in the hands down the last month. So yeah, I mean, all these guys are coming in. They're loose. They're excited. They get to play with Josh freaking Allen. Like that's cool in and of itself. So I mean, it's good, and it's just kind of an ignorance thing. They don't know yet, and they don't know better. And but it's good. It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it is totally. Before you answer the question about the Hall of Fame, let's talk about something something is coming up here soon. A little giveaway. You wanna let everybody know what's going on with that?
You want me to do it now or after the break?
Just, I guess we'll wait till after the break.
All right.
Hey, this is John from Game On Video Games and Sports Memorabilia. We are Rochester's premier trading card store. We have a wide selection of trading cards, autographs, and memorabilia. We also do autograph and celebrity appearances in the store. So if you're looking for the perfect gift for yourself, relative that doesn't like the Bills, or for a friend, come down and check us out at our Rochester location, 2670 Dewey Avenue, or our Hamburg location at 1 Buffalo Street. Go Bills.
Who was there just a couple weeks ago?
Daryl Talley and Pete Metzelaars.
That's awesome. Mike and Casey got to go mingle with Metzelaars and Talley. Casey got a little one-on-one with Talley as far as some defensive move. I mean, you're ready to take the field, right?
Oh, dude. Until, like he said, try to get by me and, like, close me in the throat. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not made for this. That dude is a brick wall at however old he is. He is still a brick wall.
Yeah.
And
the look of fear in Casey's eyes.
So Mike here in the background, there's photos of that event on John's Facebook Game On page. Go check those out. It's pretty cool. And what are we doing as far as the giveaway, John?
So we will be giving away a Pete Metzelaars jersey. It'll be the winner's choice of either a white jersey or a blue jersey. Either way, it's going to be signed by Pete. It'll come with a certificate of authenticity from our store. And it was signed a couple weeks ago when Pete and Daryl were in the store. And all you have to do is go to the Game On page tomorrow, once the jerseys are posted, like which one that you'd want if you win, and then go back to the Mafia Cast page and give them a like on the shared post, and that'll give you a second entry to win.
There you go. And when are we giving this? When are we going to announce this winner? Winner.
How's Thursday?
You mean when we have
like great
on the show?
Yeah, there you go. Yes, Pete Metzelaars will be with us on Thursday night's show. Special guest. Make sure to pop in, join us. We'll have him announce the winner of a jersey that he himself signed. Some of the newer fans, you may not know who Pete Metzelaars is. He is a former Bills tight end, played for them during the Super Bowl years. He was on the team when Jim Kelly came to town in 1986. He was Kelly's go-to guy those first couple of seasons especially. And I am excited to talk to him about all of those experiences and how all the stories. But he is also the Bills' all-time leading tight end receiver, or receiving tight end. Let me get that right. So it'll be super exciting to have him on there Thursday. And we'll do that giveaway then.
So 2 little special stats that Pete taught me when we met him at Game On was he caught Jim Kelly's first NFL pass, and he also caught the first touchdown pass in Carolina Panthers franchise history.
Yep.
Which I was like that is something that nobody can ever take away from you. That's not a record that Kincaid's about to break, and that's really cool. When he told me that, it was surprising. You could have given me 1,000 guesses as to who caught their first touchdown pass, and I would have never guessed him.
Do you guys remember who caught Jim Kelly's first touchdown pass?
Dude, I wasn't alive.
I know, but we've talked about this before.
Steve Tasker.
No, No, Tasker wasn't on the team yet. He didn't come in until 87. Yeah, don't even worry about trying to think because I don't remember. I think it was Ronnie Hillman. I could be wrong. John, do you remember?
I don't. My guess would have been somebody obscure.
It was a running back. I do remember that. Man, I wish I could remember the name. But anyways, maybe somebody that's listening could put it in the comments if you know, or just look it up and let us know because now I'm curious. Anyways, I know it was a running back, but talking about all-time greats, let's talk about James Cook for just a moment. I'm not saying he's an all-time great, but he has currently a little over 1,600 total rushing yards. He only needs 2,220 yards to crack the Bills' top 5. That's kind of a knock on the Bills, all-time running backs, I guess. The top 2 are well over 10,000, but then after that, it drops off significantly. Do you guys think that James Cook has a legitimate shot at cracking that top 5? And let me preface that by saying he's on in the last year of his contract. So what do you think, John?
100%. I mean,
2 years
he'll put up some numbers this year. As long as we go through and re-sign him and everything, I see him breaking it. Maybe a quarter to halfway through next season.
Next season, halfway? Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, and Casey, you're right. I believe he's going into year 3, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got 2 more years on that. So 1,100 yards basically over the next 2 years, which is not out of the realm of possibility. But I bring that up because, one, running backs aren't typically getting a second contract anymore with their original team. 2, I like a lot about what I'm hearing with Ray Davis. I think Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, for that matter, can eat into his carries. I don't think Cook is going to get the same volume he had last year. So that's why I'm kind of a little iffy on that. Because, yeah, I mean, you say 1,100 yards, and what did he have last year? He was over 1,000. I think he was over 1,100, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it seems like he could do it. But like I said, I have my concerns whether or not he can because I just don't see him getting the same volume he did last year.
So a big difference between Joe Brady and Ken Dorsey was Joe Brady actually upped the split, like the play percentage for each of the running backs between Latavius Cook and Ty Johnson. But what that stat doesn't tell you is that the carries for Murray and Ty Johnson actually went down and James Cook's actual usage went up.
Mm-hmm.
They played more of a straight up roll, like straight rolls in the running back room to where Latavius, you're the blocking running back, you're coming in on third down, like a long third down. James Cook, you're more likely the first and second down back, and third down if we, third and short. And Ty Johnson, you are purely like the spell back, like to where you just Cook needs a break, Johnson goes in there. That's kind of what I see this offense being this year, with Ray Davis being the spell back, and because he can do everything that James Cook can do.
He might be a better receiver.
Watch your mouth. And Ty Johnson is going to be kind of there to just dispel both of them. When they do just kind of need a change of pace, a straight downhill, hard-nosed running back, like they want exactly 1 yard, just give it to Ty Johnson. He's going to give you that yard. That's one thing that you can never take away from him, is he is a hard runner. So I don't necessarily expect James Cook's usage to go down that much. I mean, he'll probably lose some carries and some catches to Ray Davis, but I don't see him losing all of that much, because it's going to be more situational for when the running backs are playing and why they're playing. But you don't get a second contract in the NFL unless you're a generational running back. Saquon Barkley.
Do you think he gets a? Yeah,
probably not. Saquon Barkley, they wouldn't even pay him. I think the Eagles gave him 37, and the Giants offered him 25 guaranteed. And he said no. Like, I mean, and that's a lot of money. But look at what Christian McCaffrey's getting. You know, a true workhorse running back. He's getting $19.5 million, $20 million this year. Derrick Henry, he was getting contract after contract with Tennessee because he's a generational running back. Nick Chubb, he's on his second contract. You know, these are all the biggest names in the running back position. Alvin Kamara is expected to make $21 million this year. I mean, that's disgusting. I mean, tell me any GM that wants to pay $21 million to a running back anymore. It won't happen unless you are one of one. You have to be ungodly amazing at something. Either be huge or the best running back I've ever seen in Christian McCaffrey.
Can you actually have more than one generational player playing at the same time?
Mahomes and Brady.
That term generational just thrown around way too much in my opinion.
It does, but like that, you guys know what I mean though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people that like a running back that can actually an offense can truly run through in a pass-centric time in the NFL, to where these teams can still, like, their number one option is still handing the ball on.
Yeah. A really quick shout out here. Anthony just let us know that he is just subscribed to our show. If you're listening on YouTube, or if you're not, but you're listening, jump over to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe. We appreciate that. We want to try to, I'm not going to set a goal, subscribers. Let's just get as many as we possibly can. But he's a Dolphins fan, but I did want to bring this up. It's not that the Bills don't have great running backs or haven't. It's most of the running backs come from other teams and don't stay there for a long time. The top 5 running backs currently in Bills history is Thurman Thomas, O.J. Simpson, Fred Jackson, Joe Cribbs, Travis Henry. All 5 of those were draft picks of the Bills. So I get where he's saying. Then you can also add Willis McGahee to that list. He was original draft pick of the Bills.
Marshawn
Lynch was an original. The Bills have had a lot of great running backs. They just don't stick around. There's only, like we said, Thomas and Simpson are the only 2 that stuck around for a while. And it's interesting because, like we're just talking about, running backs just don't seem to get that second contract anymore with their original teams. But let me ask you, and John, you can answer this first. If Cook continues to do next year, or this year and next year, what he did last year, and he's top 5 in rushing and one of the top in all-purpose yards, would you be willing to give him top 5 money at that position to come back?
Top 5 in the league, or top 5 in Bills history?
Top 5 in the league as far as money.
Yeah, no.
If they would give him a second contract,
no.
You still move on.
Yep.
What do you think, Casey?
Top 5. So that's where the running back contracts get shaky, because you have the top 5, say it's Alvin Kamara, which I believe he's like number 1 or 2 at $21 million. I bet you there's a monstrous drop off between 1 and 5. If they could pay him $12 million a year, I would. And he did what he did last year for the next 2 years. And, there's not really an injury history. I sure give it to him, because then he does turn into, a Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry-esque player, to where you can run, like, the offense is running through him, not running through him, but he's changing the offense. Like, you can give him the ball and not have to worry at all about anything. He doesn't have fumble issues like people are saying. He's had concentration drop issues, but what player in the world hasn't? I got to admit that much. His drops he doesn't have as many as people say. They've just come at timely time, like at costly times. It's just been 2 blatant touchdowns. All of a sudden, everybody's like, he's the worst pass catching running back in the entire world, as if he was the most prolific pass catching running back to come out of Georgia history.
Yeah. Well, and he was still top 10. I think he was number 9 as far as catch rate among all running backs last year. So, yeah, it's the timing of those drops, but
yeah. But I mean, hey, look at Diggs' drop in the last game of the year. Same, bro. Same.
Yeah. So just really quick, I pulled it up. So the top, well, it gave me the 6 here. The top 6 currently paid running backs, based on average salary this year, is Christian McCaffrey's number 1 at $16 million, followed by Kamara at 15, then Jonathan Taylor at 14, Barkley 12.6, Josh Jacobs 12 million, and then Joe Mixon 9.9 million. And I would take James Cook over Mixon any day of the week. Those other 5, yeah, Barkley's starting to get up there a little bit in the age. Obviously, Kamara is. I mean, kudos to Alvin Kamara's agent to get him that kind of a deal this late in his career. But
he's holding out to get another one.
Yeah, I think he's done in the league. I think he's done.
You're making $15 million. I'm sorry, that's not enough.
Yeah, 1,000%. So if we're going to put James Cook in that top 5 as far as money, then we're looking at around $12 million a year. If he does same thing last year in the next 2 years, is he not worth that?
Bye, John.
We just lost John. I'm sure he'll come back.
12.5 million. That's like 12.5, like 13. Top 3 in all-purpose yards, top 4 in all-purpose yards over the next 2 years. $13 million. I can't foresee giving $1 million a game to a running back, but I'm more than willing to give him $750,000 of not my money.
I guess it all depends. If he's going to get used like a workhorse back, then he deserves that money, right? Then it's worth it. But if he is out there and he like almost let's say 60-40 between him and the other 2, between Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, then I don't think they pay him that. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's move on because we're already getting long. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, and that's of course wide receivers. There's been a lot of videos of these guys. There's been a lot of talk. One of the big things that I'm hearing that's kind of new is a lot of motion that includes the running backs getting out there and into slot positions as well. But Keon Coleman has been putting up just highlight catches all week long. And Curtis Samuel is showing why the Bills signed him. He has been moved all over the field. He's playing for multiple different positions, and the Bills are having a hard time keeping up with where he's going. So I'm excited about that. But with Shavers, I know we keep talking about this, and it's all, as far as the top 5 or 6 on this roster. But do you guys think that Shavers finds the spot on this 53?
He's Isaiah Hodgins 2.0 to me.
Ouch.
It's true. It's true. He's been around the team for, I think this will be his 2nd or 3rd year now. You can't forget there's always got to be a camp hero.
Yep.
Always. And, maybe that's going to be him this year. Maybe he's that camp hero. I personally think they're going to keep 5 wide receivers this year. I think they're going to go back to what they've done recently and just keep 5. Because I think they're gonna want those extra spots for like an extra linebacker or maybe an extra safety or offensive lineman for this new kickoff rule. So I could see them going a little bit lighter if they have their solidified 5, and everybody has a role. MBS is the gadget, Mac Hollins is the blocker, and X. Keon Coleman's the X and slot guy. Shakir and Curtis Samuel are the chess pieces that can be moved around to 5-6 different spots in the offense. So I wouldn't be surprised if they only kept 5. If they keep 6, Shavers and Claypool and Andy Isabella and KJ Hamler are going to have a battle on their hands. But I just have a feeling that it's going to be 5 this year.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree. Probably 5. I think Shavers might end up being the odd man out, depending on, I've always liked Claypool, and if he can show what he was supposed to be, kind of like Samuel. I really think it's going to be tough for Shavers to make it.
Well, I'm just kind of scrolling through here really quick because there was a lot of talk, especially today and yesterday, about Shavers. Press conference, McDermott said very impressed. Talked a lot about his consistency and his and how he comes to work. He's the first one out there in the field. He's the last one to leave. There were some other comments about. Oh my gosh, there was one. Oh, so he today, in fact, and yesterday, he did get some reps with the ones. And there goes my dog. The Amazon just showed up. But so the fact that they're inserting him in with the ones right now and giving him some play, and apparently he's getting it done. He's holding his own. And I'm not hearing a lot about Claypool. Casey, go ahead before this dog choke him out.
So Jesus, Ronnie. So, I mean, it's one of those like last year when we were rotating linebackers to see who was going to start at middle linebacker next to Milano. Like we had, Bernard, he was injured all preseason, but they had Dotson and Spector and, this guy and that guy and this guy and that, rotating in. Who's going to gel the best? I mean, if they're going to be out on the field with the ones, you want to see how they can play together. I mean, football is such an 11, like it's such a team sport. You have to have gel with the guys that you're out there playing with. You got to be able to play and feed off of each other. So the fact that he's getting reps with the ones, I'm not surprised. Yeah, how does he do? If he does go out there and all of a sudden he's Calvin Johnson 2.0, then sweet. But if he's just shows the same old same that he's done the last preseason, then yeah, okay, we kind of can see what he is. But you got to give him a shot. They're doing the same thing with safeties. The last 3 days, different safeties have started next to Taylor Rapp. It was Cole Bishop, Damar Hamlin, it was Damar Hamlin first, and Mike Edwards, and then Cole Bishop. So it's the exact same thing. You got to get them out there and see how they play with the people they're playing next to.
Yeah. I don't have a preference. I really don't. Like I've said before, I just want the best 4, 5, 6, 7, however many they keep. I just want the best. I don't care what their name is. If they make plays on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever day of the week, then it doesn't matter to me. One of the things, though, that I will say I'm a little surprised with is we haven't really heard a whole lot of Claypool's name like we did with OTAs and minicamp. So I'm starting to kind of cool a little on him. But let's jump over, because since you mentioned the safeties, Mike Edwards is out, hamstring injury. McDermott said today he's week to week. Does not bode well for him, given the fact that Hamlin has stepped up and is playing really, really well so far. Hamlin has more snaps with this team than any safety on the field right now. I would not be shocked if he's the starter come week 1, opposite Taylor Rapp.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know a lot of people are down on Hamlin, and it's, I don't want to say a sympathy case, but maybe a PR stunt or whatever else. But a lot of people don't realize that he had a full year of just sitting back, watching and learning. And whoever they bring in, whether it's Bishop or whoever, Hamlin's got the upper hand. He knows how this defense works. He's sat back. He's watched it for a year. He's actually played in it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he wasn't week 1 starter.
Be a hell of a story. It'd be one hell of a story if he came back from what happened in Cincinnati, and 2 years later, when the safeties retire, he's finally given a shot and he starts. I mean, before his injury, like, he was playing pretty damn good, and we talked on this podcast about just how well he was playing. And yeah, I bet you it's still taking him time to get comfortable and truly, I mean, 100 full, like, truly trust himself and his body and not have any inkling in the back of his head, like, what if that happens again? Because it was a 1 in bajillion chance that what happened. So the fact that he's back to himself, playing well, he was trending in the right direction, he was trending upward before the injury, and the fact that it seems like he's kind of stepping back into that same trajectory is fantastic. I would really like to see Cole Bishop on that football field, because as well as DeMar's played, it sounds like Cole Bishop's played almost as well. And if that's a rookie coming in his first 5 days and playing that well, that's impressive. I'm really
the biggest thing.
I'm really excited for preseason, just for the position battles. It's going to tell a lot.
It will. The big thing I'm hearing about Cole Bishop is the athleticism stands out amongst the others. Obviously he's a rookie, so I think that's kind of, you have to weigh, does Hamlin get the job over Bishop, whether it's the backup or safety or number one or whatever, based on his experience in this defense and in the league, versus the athleticism of Bishop. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. And that's not to say that Edwards is out, because by no means is he, but if this is a lingering hamstring injury that goes weeks, who knows? Maybe he's not even on the roster come cut down day because of that. Or maybe he's an early candidate for IR.
I was thinking that he'd be the guy that's cut, and it would kind of simplify the safety room. If he just was hurt, okay, bye, see you later. Now we've got Cam Lewis, DeMar Hamlin, Taylor Rapp, and Cole Bishop. That's four, and one of those guys can drop down and play the nickel, so that adds extra positional value to him. So I wouldn't be surprised if this lingers. That, I mean, he was signed to a small, modest contract, so I wouldn't be surprised if this lingers. If he's gone. Yeah,
I agree. Not that that's what we hope for or anything like that.
No.
Again, going back to what I said, we just want the best 11 on the field, and if he's the best of the safeties, then fine. But it would be pretty cool if Bishop earns that role. It would be pretty cool if Hamlin does too, coming full circle from what happened to him 2 years ago. But Casey, I want to let you take this. We've got some guests coming up. We talked about this Thursdays already, and we've got some others on the table as well.
Yeah, so I wasn't ready for this pop run. You can't find something like that. So we have Pete, like we talked about, Pete Metzlars this Thursday doing the jersey giveaway. Thanks to John over at Game On Sports. Then August 15th, Ronnie, we thank you for this one. We've got ESPN's own and DVOA's own Aaron Schatz. He's coming back on the show. Can't believe we made that good of an impression. That's to get
they like us. They really like us.
Right. Yeah. So we got Aaron Schatz coming back on. And then August 19th, I probably will not be here. That is my wife's birthday. And I don't feel like sleeping on the couch that night. So you and Mike, who will be stepping in for me, will be joined by Ryan Talbot. So that'll be really cool from the Shout podcast. And we've got one more set of guests. That will be everybody's hint as to who they think it might be. But we're still waiting on a definitive date for that. But we do have one more panel coming on the show sometime in August.
All of this before the season kicks off in September. Cannot wait for it. I'm super excited about this season. I'm always excited about this season. I'm always optimistic about the new seasons. Even when they were in the drought, even when EJ Manuel was a starting quarterback, I was like, we'll be okay. This is going to be the year with EJ. I'm an eternal optimist to a fault, but I cannot wait for football to be back. And this Thursday we get some NFL. It's not the real thing, but can't wait for it. You guys got anything you want to add?
It's close enough.
It's close. John, anything you want to throw in there? A little shout out?
Yeah. So 2 stores, one in Hamburg, one in Rochester. Rochester one is run by my son on Dewey Avenue, and the Hamburg one, you get to see me. Either way, we got tons of Bills autographs, Bills cards. If you guys are going to training camp, and you're coming to Rochester or are in Rochester, we've got tons of, trading cards of all the players and unsigned mini helmets if you're chasing autographs.
Awesome stuff right there. Hey, listen, we'll be back Thursday night with special guest, former tight end, Bills tight end, Pete Metzelaars. If you are listening to this, please jump over to our YouTube channel, the Mafia Cast. Give us a subscribe. We appreciate that so much. Thank you for listening to the Mafia Cast. We're out of here. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.